What is going on, everybody? My name is Oz, and we have a special treat for you guys. This is actually called the Omi-Cast. This is the first podcast that all of us are together for. This is going to be our pilot episode. So we're just going to explain a little bit about the Omi-Cast and what we hope to accomplish with it, and then we'll get straight into our topics of discussion. The Omi-Cast itself was put together by Alexius, and with the help of a few awesome people, Deities, Nada, and Dev, as well as myself, and a few awesome artists. We've gotten a bunch of stuff together, and we plan on opening up with a brand new and entertaining podcast for you guys. A few things that we hope to accomplish during this are to just basically bring the whole Awesome Nuts community together and create topics of discussion for the community to look at and maybe form opinions on. We don't intend to talk down or speak badly about anybody, so don't expect that. We are promoting all Awesome Nut related activities as well as the community. Without further ado, we'll get straight into the introductions. As I've said before, my name is Oz. Some of you may know me from casting a few of the previous tournaments, the Solar Wars Cup and Alexius's Charity Championship. I am a Clunk main now, surprisingly, as the community has dubbed me. I also play some Ted, and I just started playing some Scree. So I'm having a good time with Knots. I've been a player for the PS4 version of it and switched over to PC, and I regret absolutely nothing. That being said, we're going to move on to one of my teammates on Team Ape, Deities.
What's going on, you guys? My name's Deities, and it's honestly a surprise to see myself on this podcast since I started out as a competitive first-person shooter player. So MOBAs are definitely not my thing, but have luck be in my life. One of my friends gifted me Awesome Nuts while I was on sale for 99 cents. Fell in love with it. I got an addictive personality, and I just stuck with it. I joined Team Ape with Oz and Mavij, and we entered the competitive scene. While I'm still new, I am a Swiggins main, learning Coco, love all the knots, think it's an awesome game. As for this podcast, I just want to entertain you guys, share my thoughts, listen to other people's thoughts, and have a good time with all these guys around me.
Alright, so I guess it's my turn now. I'm Nada Pop, but you can call me Nada. That's what everyone else does. I've been playing Knots for almost 2,500 hours, split on my main account and my alt account. I've been doing competitive play for around 1,000 hours, and for that time, I've been doing casting, streaming, YouTube videos, and just general trying to, get out there because I really, really enjoy Knots and I really like to talk about it. It's kind of like a passion about it now, a hobby, everything. So I really, really care about it. And I really like to talk about it. Some of you may know me from streaming or anything like that, but right now I'm here as the old guy, I guess, in this cast. Also with Dev, who will introduce himself in just a second because he's done some podcasting too. So, word's yours.
Right. My name is Devmon, and you might or might not know me. I've done a little bit of podcasting before. I've done a little bit of shoutcasting, a little bit of voice work, but I'm really intending to get into the scene with Ostnauts and maybe eventually voice a Knot or voice something. I'm a Swiggins main, as well as a Genji main. I like supporting, I like holding down the people and just kind of seeing them, as well as being as tanky as possible. Spiritual cooking is really good. And I've been playing since the launch of Awesome Nuts on the PC, actually. So way back in 2012, I think it was. Since then. And I've been having a blast ever since then. I've been playing every patch, been paying attention to all the notes, making suggestions on the forums, and just trying to be a part of the community, more or less. And that's about it.
That being said, I think we're going to move into our first topic of discussion, which is going to be the Alienware Cup discussion. For those of you who don't know, there was a huge tournament that recently went on, hosted by Ronimo, and had some excellent sponsorships by Alienware. And a huge congratulations to 99 Cents, the team who won it and knocked us out in the first round of the finals. But nonetheless, we hold no grudges. Excellent work, gentlemen. That being said, I think Deities can explain a little bit to you guys about the tournament itself.
Yeah, I just have to give a shout out to Alienware as well as Ronimo Games and everyone that set that tournament up. It was, I believe, the first official sponsored tournament in Alienware history, and it was amazingly fun to participate, to watch, and just to have that set up in the Awesome Knots community. I am a part of Team Ape. We managed to get a spot into the tournament with one of the qualifiers, and I can say that it's an absolute joy just to see top-notch teams, as well as mediocre teams, just fight all out, have a blast of a time, and support the community as a whole. So the Alienware Cup was hosted on awesome-cup.com by Alienware, and it was first qualifiers to see which teams could make it through brackets to enter the grand finals. We had a lot of teams, a lot of different nations, and a lot of fun. So Nata will go through some of the more specifics of the tournament, and we'll continue on from there.
Oh boy, all this pressure. I just want to correct both of you guys, because it was actually hosted by ES Champ, who did all the production work, and I just want to make sure that they get credit too, because they were up casting for 10 hours, and that is a hell. I know Oz will agree on that casting for
10
long
hours
periods
is rough.
Yeah, 10, it is really rough, and they have my respect. So I also want to plug my team, Team Ion. We finished 4th, which is kind of like the worst spot to finish in the finals, if you ask me, because so close but so far away. So there was a really big tournament. I was really happy to participate in it. They got first, they had the qualifiers at 64, and then it was 32.
32.
32 teams.
128.
So
they boosted
a total
it to 130. Yep.
yeah, a total of 512 possible teams. With the exception that some teams could re-enter to get another shot at the finals, but just how many teams were in it, the scale of it was insane. And of course, those prizes that were, worth fighting for. If we may get a preview of that, then I think we'd appreciate it.
Yep,
So,
the prize list is up right now and available for viewers.
Excellent. If you would go through that in a second, and I'll be back with more info on the tournament.
Of course. So, as the prize listed, the top 8 teams from all 4 qualifiers were given the chance to win these prizes. From 4th to 8th place has a total value of $195. Obviously not cash value, but what they got in DLC contents. Each member won 5 copies of Awesomenauts, 15 copies in totals, and 3 skin bundles in total, so 1 for each member. 3rd place got $460 worth of total cash prizes. $460 of that was actual cash currency. Once again, 5 copies of Awesomenauts and 3 skin bundles. Then going higher up the list as the... oh, that's someone's noisy up in there. 2nd place got $900 worth of cash prizes. It is $900 cash. That is a very hefty and nice prize pool. And once again, 15 copies of Awesomenauts total and 3 skin bundles. But the grand prize, that sexy looking box on screen with the console. First prize, $600 cash, 1 Alienware Alpha per member. Wow, that is something huge for the Awesomenauts community, where we weren't known in that sense to have a sponsored tournament that gave away an Alienware Alpha. So I'll be switching back to the cam section so we can talk more about that, going through the other people.
Right. So that tournament, I actually didn't participate myself. I decided just kind of sit on the sidelines as a spectator. I saw a whole bunch of streams, I saw a whole bunch of fights, a whole bunch of matches, and it was pretty intense, I have to say. So basically, there's a whole bunch of teams going through it, a lot of really good competition. I have to say, everyone I watched did a really good job at playing the game. I was just really impressed with the skill level of the community in general, especially getting up to those finals. We had Team Boom, we had Team... yeah, Boom. Boom, 99 cents, and, shoot.
Boss,
Lag,
Boom.
99
Yeah.
cents, Ape,
Yep.
Ion. Lots of great teams.
Man, those finals were so intense. I was actually on the edge of my seat, especially watching Boom and Boss fight against each other. They were so close at a whole bunch of times. And then just at the finals, that was really intense. And I have to say, Awesome Cup was a really good success, and that the fact the Alienware was there to back them up and kind of give them the promotion, give them all the prizes and whatnot, really worked well for Awesomenauts. And I think that it'd be even better once we have spectator mode introduced into the game. So I think, yeah, exactly. Once we get spectator mode, we'll get a whole bunch more sponsorships, and they'll actually kick up into an even better competitive game, more or less.
Do you think that the sponsorships gave some of the teams more motivation to show up and practice and win the whole thing?
I would say it definitely did. That cash prize, along with those Alienware consoles, that's an amazing prize, especially for a game that might be considered as small as Astronauts. I mean, you look at League of Legends; they get like hundreds of thousands of dollars for winning, but compared to the Astronauts, which has a significantly smaller community, that's just a greatly improved prize. So it may not be like $100,000, but given the size of the Astronauts, it was really good motivation just to kind of participate and even do your best, even just to watch to see who wins those.
I actually have something to say if I can just break in here.
Yeah, go ahead.
You know, just playing in such a neatly organized tournament is really, really, really fun. Like I was oblivious to the fact that we could win stuff until like, oh, we're in the finals. We're gonna win stuff. Yay! Because I'd been having so much fun. We were like really engaged. The team was like, all right, we got practice here. We got to do this. We're gonna figure out who our enemies are, what their mains are. We're gonna go in. We're gonna go through this strategically. I'm on team with a German and a Swiss guy, so thing is pretty tight when we do post pre-work. It's like what happened, what went wrong, and just all this gives a sense of, oh, things is happening. It's so good, so exciting, and all the hype. Just playing in a so organized tournament was really nice, and the cash prizes was just a bonus in my opinion. Just tons of fun.
It was definitely a fun thing to do. I mean, Deities and I, we would get on. We normally practice every single day, but this was one of those tournaments where we really put a lot of time and effort into learning some new knots and really just learning the different play styles of different people. And once you guys do get into the competitive scene, for those of you who are trying to get in, you notice a total different level of gameplay. You see a lot of different characters being utilized in different aspects, a lot of strange builds that you may have never seen before, but work well with different team comps, which we'll get to at a later point in time. But one huge thing is learning your enemy, and that's one thing that we spent a lot of time discussing. We looked at a lot of the opposition and said, okay, they may be playing these knots, they may not be playing these knots. What can we do to anticipate that, and how can we counter it? So building a team comp is a huge factor in playing in competitive play. You may be an amazing solo queue player, you may be on a great pre-made team, but once you get into this caliber of gameplay, you're going to struggle in the beginning, but you're going to learn things a lot quicker.
Oh,
As
yeah.
they say, teamwork is OP.
Very true.
Actually, one of the most important things to note is that you should always try to, especially with the building of teams, you're choosing your combo. It's always important to actually look at, when you have a drafting system, as we had for the Alienware tournament, to not just build for what you want yourself, but what would actually suit the team. Because there's no need. We were fighting a team, and I'm not gonna call out anything, but we had a very aggressive team versus a very defensive team, and they could see, for instance, we had a Ted and they had a Yuri, and that just spells trouble right from the beginning. I mean, it's very important to make your picks off of what you know and what you can see, and that's why it's so important to also be able to play different characters. You can't just be a one-note wonder. You have to really spread out if you want to play in competitive.
It was
In that
fun
sense,
to.
go ahead.
Oh, well, okay. It was fun to see that some of the characters were more picked than others, that sort of portrayed what characters were favorited by teams as well as the majority of the players in the tournament. But I want to sort of switch to a little thing to note that teams were allowed to hop in more than one qualifier, which I think it was very fun to see multiple teams over and over. I know Team Boom, I'm giving them a shout out real quick right here. They went through all 4 qualifiers, and I think they won the 4th qualifier, but in the previous 3 of them, they got to the semis, if not the finals. So, yeah, the rough time. That's like 12 hours straight of gaming in one day. But those teams, we had a massive 512 teams. Some of them showed up again, so it was awesome to see that they can have multiple chances for this. But seeing how some characters were more picked than others, that involves the current patch 2.8. But what do you guys expect from the next patch of 2.9, which is a little segue for our next topic, 2.9.
Oh, yeah. You know what? I'm just looking forward to when you're saying competitive. I want to see how competitive works out with Nibs' new character.
Yep, we are getting a new
let's
character.
keep it on Nibs right now then. So, what
Yeah,
do you
let's
guys
do it.
feel? How do you feel about this new Starstorm not coming into the game?
Well, Dev, if
I
you want to go first.
Oh, sure. I was about to say I have a burning passion for this new dragon. And the fact that I keep thinking about Nazi every single time that Nibs comes up. It's just natural. The two dragons, they both start with N and whatnot. But actually, looking at the skills, I was really impressed to see what she has. She's got a teleport kind of like Sentry has a teleport, but it works functionally different. So Sentry has his map-wide teleport, whereas Nibs has this kind of ganking teleport. So it's not like a dash, you don't dash into combat, but you've got this basically a mechanism that allows you to get in or out of combat, and you can have it held in like one spot. So basically it's really strategic in that way. In addition, her second skill is the Fire Breath, so it's this huge damaging skill that kills Astronauts really, really quickly, but it leaves her very vulnerable at the same time. So it's really an interesting trade-off to her playstyle right there. I really like her right now, especially with the frenzy mechanic on her auto attack, but I'll let you guys discuss a little bit more about that.
All right, so you know what? I just want to say that I really have a hard time deciding if I like Nibs or not, because obviously she's gonna get changed. She's in beta right now, and she does a ton of damage, like way too much. You can go in and you can just obliterate. I think it's like, imagine a Clunk teleporting in, exploding twice, and then going out like nothing happened, and he has a blaze trail on his boots. That is my metaphor for this, because damn. But she also is really weak against burst. If you have, it's like really a well-made glass cannon. It's dangerous to go in. There is, actual risk in going in, because you're stuck if you do it. You kill everything, but you're stuck, and you don't have much HP. So, that taken into account, and minus her blaze boots, I really like I see some potential here.
Yeah, definitely. I think that Nibs is going to be the star character of 2.9. I feel that her Fire Breath, due to the fact that she can't move, is very risky to go in, as Nada said, a glass cannon. You go in, you teleport in, or you just come in with your blaze on your little tail thing. But you're standing there for a good, 3-4 seconds for other people to just burst you down. That high damage output is devastating, but I personally don't have beta, so I can't personally say, but I've seen videos, I've seen the discussion threads. It seems like it's hard to hit all the ticks of the Fire Breath on your enemies. So I feel that if you go in and you miss, you are one dead dragon. The teleport, yeah.
Oh, go on.
Oh no, I just wanted to state one more thing, that while people are super excited for the Dragon Breath, I feel that the teleport is going to be much more tactically advanced in a way, in a higher learning curve, because we do have the cooldown option, the cooldown reset on the teleport, where if you don't activate it, you get your cooldown back, and also slow on the trail of the teleport, like pounce, blaze, trail thing. So that's a constant slow going through enemies, a constant fear of Nibs teleporting in and doing a Fire Breath. And while being such a glass cannon, I wonder if Nibs can be a majorly defensive character.
No, I just want to add on to the Fire Breath, because it actually pierces terrain, and that is just wild. It's really just insane, because you can do the things, you go under the turrets on Rivet on top lane, you just burn everything. Just in general, I feel like having her do that is really, really good in combination with the teleport, as you said. But I just wanted to add that the piercing effect of it is gonna, let her attack in safe positions, even though she is overextending. But I wanted to say that.
One thing that I noticed when I was watching the reveal stream, that no-clip fire is definitely going to be something to watch out for. Same thing goes for any bursty characters that have a no-clip aspect to them. We've seen it before where Clunk goes through the floor and just hits with the top of the explode and picks up the kill. We've seen Spike and Vinny, if they have the radius dash, that can easily go through the floors on Sirona. And just any character with a no-clip in general can really do a lot of damage, especially to those characters trying to teleport away behind the turrets. As far as her teleport goes, it's a very interesting teleport in my opinion. It can be used defensively, but it can also be used extremely offensively. If you see a Nibs running in on your team, I think what's going to happen for the opening part of the patch is that we're going to see a lot of nibs running in with the teleport, trying to get that insane amount of DPS going off, but we're also going to see a lot of counters to that. Once Nibs is off of her cooldowns, the AA that she has, which we should discuss, I think it was her Rage or Fury?
Frenzy.
Frenzy, excuse me. Rage, Fury, Frenzy, all the above. But her Frenzy that she can go into, I don't think that it's going to be completely obsolete, but if you're off cooldowns, I definitely think that your AA by itself isn't going to be able to clean up a kill as well as your ability cooldowns can. That being said, I definitely think that she's going to fit in well with a lot of team comps. I can see Swigs, Nibs, and a Scoop being extremely deadly. I can already see that happening. I can see it being kind of the beginning meta of 2.9, where we're going to see a lot of Snare and Nibs characters. But I can definitely see the teleport being used offensively and defensively as well. One thing that I was discussing the other day with Deities was talking about how Sentry is getting a somewhat of a nerf in 2.9. His Black Hole Sun is going to start to degrade over time, and it's going to force a lot of Sentry players to play a totally different play style. But using the Black Hole Sun on Nibs when she has a teleport cooldown, the Black Hole Sun is just going to be obsolete. You may trap one of the teammates in, but Nibs is going to be able to get away, and even if she's in there, you know what, they may decide, alright, I'm stuck in here now, let me just toss out a fire and burn him up while he's trying to kill me. But, Dev, any comments on that?
So I was going to discuss team strategies as well. I was actually going to really bring up Swiggins, because Swiggins with his anchor, if he can hold someone down, I mean, it's not hitting multiple people, but you can get that fire, you can basically guarantee that fire goes off, especially if you have damage amp, as well as the reduced chain anchor length. In addition, one character I don't think you've said, but I think might actually be a really good combo with Nibs, is actually Genji. Nibs has really low HP, but that shield really compensates for it. So there is an upgrade on her Fire Breath that allows her to take reduced damage. I think it's 18% at stage 2 of 2, basically. And Genji can give you more than that at 25% for 3 seconds. In addition, Genji can provide you with more maximum HP through Spiritual Cooking, and the Cocoon with Nebula Dust with Slow gives you a 40% slow for about 1.5 seconds after the release of Cocoon, which basically means that Nibs can land those ticks really easily and really safely. So if you're going for like a bursty kill one person gank, Genji plus Nibs is going to be a really good one. And that's about all I want to say about that. Go ahead, Deities.
Yeah, definitely Nibs is one to watch out for, but talking about Sentry, Genji, and everyone like that, the Sentry DK system kind of gets rid of the passive gameplay that we see a lot of Knots be star players at. One of these major Knots is Gnaw. Gnaw is getting his Weedlings reworked to only lasting, I think, 30 seconds. Much like Sentry, this just gets rid of a passive play system or style that will, one, I think games will go a lot faster, and two, I think more teams and more team comps and just general players are going to be a lot more aggressive.
Oh yeah. I'm just gonna like say right now that I am so pumped for the Gnaw changes. Also, some of the people that watch my stream will know that I have an odd fondness for playing Ayla with AA. Just going in AA Ayla, it's a ton of fun. Play responsibly, but it's a ton of fun. The changes to Ayla in 2.9 are gonna make things easier for people that like messing around with that. So we're gonna get base lifesteal on Ayla, and that's gonna be so cool on the AA. And they're changing up the way rage works, so it's now a percentage of your max health that is a self damage, and the lifesteal is according to that then. And when you buy the damage, it's of course not more damage, it just scales up with the thing with the max HP and the percentages and all that stuff. It's very, very neat. Apparently, as far as I've heard, I haven't really had the time to test it, but rage is a lot weaker in the sense that you don't have as much sustain and you can't really take as much of a beating when you're in rage mode, but your AA switching out and using your AA is much more viable now. So go ahead, Dave.
Great. So I'm going to follow up on the Ayla subject, actually, since I've seen a little bit of everything, and I've had actually discussion forums subject that's been kind of taken off. So basically, Ayla, with her new rage, she's can't stay in rage as long, and if you build pills to try to compensate for the rage damage, it just hurts you a little bit more. So Ayla's kind of screwed out of rage a little bit more. However, I do like the changes to her auto attack. Having that base lifesteal is actually really handy, and I think it could really lead into something where Ayla's got this like 3-part kit. But 10% is just, it feels a little bit weak, and I think it should be buffed up, and maybe the lifesteal upgrade changed a little bit just to compensate, because it feels like it could be like a core mechanic where you have Rage as your kind of steroid, where you're doing lots of AoE damage and killing yourself, and then you have Evil Eye just to compensate by shooting out like a high power Evil Eye after you use Rage, and then lifesteal on your auto attack just kind of buff up by like hitting droids, hitting creeps, and just kind of getting the health back from the Rage. In addition to that, I feel like there could be a couple of other things done with her. So one of the suggestions that I've seen and I've actually suggested is tying her rage damage and rage attack speed with her auto attack damage and auto attack, basically attack speed. So when you invest into your auto attack damage, you're also investing into your rage damage. So she's not necessarily screwed out of just one playstyle. She can effectively use all of her abilities together, and she scales a little bit better into the game, and she's also able to push towers a little bit better at the start of the game. Yeah, that's about it.
I definitely think that's a good suggestion. It kind of reminds me of Ted's AA. You know, one upgrade kind of compensates for the shotgun and the machine gun auto attack. So I can see that definitely being viable. I would say something along the lines of, instead of a 10% base, you can upgrade that to a 15 or 20%, excuse me. Once you get that, like you said before, when Nada said you can just use your rage, get the clears down, maybe hunt somebody down, get off that low-powered Evil Eye, then you can easily just heal right back up and just rinse and repeat over and over again.
Yeah, I totally agree, but then again, a lot of the changes are coming from the different leagues, I believe, since we do see a playstyle change going from higher leagues to lower leagues, and I feel that Ayla is one of those characters that is very hard to counter if you don't know how exactly to do that. Much like Gnaw in this case. If you let Gnaw set up a Wheeling Nest, anything like that, he's going to be able to hold that down unless the team can coordinate together and just take that nest out. It's an ongoing debate whether these changes are positive or negative, or they're just there because of the complaints from the difference of leagues. But in any case, I feel that the game will change in the better. We're going to see more aggressive, faster gameplay, everything like that. And I still see Gnaw, Ayla, everyone like that as viable characters. One thing I did want to see, or at least mention, is that Ted is getting his Grenade de Pomme upgrade changed, his shield upgrade changed, to being no clip. So we're seeing a lot of characters, a lot of things moving into the no clip zone of, I feel, being more tactical and learning curvy-ish, since Ted can activate that upgrade.
Ned McPayne.
Ned McPayne. Ted can activate that upgrade and just go in, and if he gets in a bad spot, he can just run across everything and get out. So it's very interesting.
All right, so let me do this.
Yep, here you go.
I got this. All right, so now you were talking about aggressive gameplay and you know, the usefulness of all your abilities, and what they're doing to Leon, at least, I think is a step in the right direction and then 2 steps back. Let me explain why. Because they want to do the thing where they know that Invis is pretty in a messed up place right now. It's good, but the dummy is really, really terrible. What they're doing now is they're giving the dummy base movement. They're giving the AI chip. And they're getting rid of the AI chip. And now you can buy an upgrade that speeds you up if you're near an enemy with below 50% HP, if I'm correct. Something like that. And it's a step in the right direction, but now the clones, are even more useless, because now you can't even use them for, you know, vision in certain places because they're just wander about. So I'm not really happy about that. I'm happy about the direction they're doing with the replacement upgrade, but I really think they could change it up. Maybe add base surprise mask to it, make it limited, give him a space speed up boost, something like that. Make it interesting. Make it like Vinny's Invis, you know, a shorter, burstier Invis that has its advantages, but only while you're Invis and you're not Invis forever. So that's my 2 cents on Leon right now and what they're going to do with him.
Okay, before I actually move on to Voltor, I actually want to make a couple of points on Leon. I really like the new upgrade, the String Cheese, where you can chase down people that are low in health, and I think that's a really good replacement. I'm going to agree with you on the base clones, that moving clones aren't necessarily the best choice. I almost feel like if they were attacking clones at base, that would be a lot more better. I'd give Leon a lot more damage potential, and his early game would be a lot more viable in that sense. and you could do things like playing people into your own clones with your tongue, and that would open up a whole bunch of new options, and it wouldn't give away like a whole bunch of things. Following on that, from clones to drones, Voltar is getting a couple basically heal buffs upgrades to his auto attack heals, and it's kind of nice. But the big thing to note here is what Ronimo said on the balance thread, and they said they're working on basically a whole rework of Voltar. So, not sure what's going to happen with that, but it's looking like it's going to be really impressive. Go ahead, Oz.
So, one thing that I did want to just touch up on was all the changes that we're going to see in 2.9. You guys have basically spoken about everything that I wanted to get my hands on, but I think we're going to see some different comps coming into play. And I think that the meta is going to change a little bit. I think we're going to see a lot more Leons being a lot more aggressive, picking up the movement speed upgrade a lot earlier than we would anticipate. He's going to be the hunter class now. I have no longer classified attacking characters as assassins because ever since I've started to play Scree, he's just a hunter. He just hunts people down. So they are no longer called assassins to me. It's just a hunter. Leon is going to become the same way. He's just going to become a new hunter.
Fun fact time. In the game's code, Raylan is called Hunter.
Yep.
Really?
Yep.
She is the hunter.
She is called Hunter in the game code.
What does she hunt?
Robots. She
Robots?
hunts lots of robots for money.
She hunts everything.
No, she hunts scrubs.
Is that your Raylan or just Raylan in general?
I don't know. People usually confuse the two anyway.
Get the little humble brag going in there. Okay,
Yeah.
I see how it is.
Dude, people were disappointed when I went on webcam. Oh, dude, you're not Raylan. What is this? I want my money back.
You need to be Bionic Raylan. Where's your mask? Whoa.
Regardless.
I have this...
Raylan is pretty crazy, I do have to say. I haven't seen many good Raylans, and I don't think I've seen any good Raylans here either, so,
See ya!
Sorry, I had to get the little shot in there. But we'll just go straight into our little mid-recap, because we do have somewhat of a schedule going on here. That was our 2.9 discussion in the beginning. This is obviously the first time that we're all together doing the Omi-Cast. We hope to bring the Awesome Knot community together and really make this a more community-based thing where people can kind of listen in and discuss what we're discussing. So we hope that we accomplish that, and we hope to get our names out there and just make sure that the Awesome Nuts community has a podcast to look forward to yet again. Another thing that we discussed, the introduction. Obviously, you guys know who we are now, but we'll just do the quick introduction again. My name's Oz. I do some casting. I'm a pretty cool guy, and I like mudkips.
I'm pretty cool.
Yeah. He's pretty cool. He's okay. You know, he's decent, but the better stuff. Yeah.
I'm alright. Not the best, not the worst.
Alright, once again, I'm Dedes. I like playing billiards, pool, other than Awesome Knots, but you know, that's a little bit something extra about me. Whatever.
Right, sure. I'm Nada. I do casting, videos, streaming, you name it. I do parkour in my spare time when I'm not doing knots, and that was my fun fact of the day. I main Raylan, if you didn't guess.
And I'm Devmon, and I like making funny voices, yes.
No, he's really funny.
New voice of Genji. This is the new voice of Genji, everybody.
Genji's brother.
To me.
Genji's brother. I was gonna make Genji's brother Genji.
Genji's brother. It's just Genji backwards. What's Genji backwards? I can't type it out now. Ijing.
Oh wow.
Injeg.
Ijnig.
Ijn. Regardless.
Rap album right there.
We're gonna go into something that everybody has to deal with. Maps. We all have to deal with the maps because we play Awesome Knots.
Oh,
that was
no.
a really bad segue. But we'll just go straight into maps now. So, Dedes, what is the first map on our list? Or whatever you'd like to discuss?
Honestly, there probably is a list, but I just instantly think about maps, and if you read the lore, the map of Augilon has...
Oh, yes.
Yep, I am bringing this in.
Yes. This is going to be good.
Ooh, the lore of Augilon states that an angry porcupine fell from Earth and got his eyes burned by the sun, so he became angry and exploded into the something Eye of Agilon to create the invisibility orb. I have no idea, but it's an angry porcupine, so I agree.
Maybe we'll see an angry porcupine not at some point in the
At
future.
some point.
At some point.
Of course.
But on more serious topics, Agilon is the first map that I would like to talk about simply because it has the unique aspect of that invisibility orb. And I feel that every map has its tactics, while the Agilon map has a very basic tactic that few teams do, or rather high-end teams do successfully, is that they have to time that invisibility orb because it's basically a free gank. If you get that invisibility with a snare or CC knot, you can get anyone alone or just go in while alone and get a free kill. It's very dangerous if you don't know who has that invis. Alright, Oz.
Oz,
We're all just
everyone is
dancing
doing
It's my magic trick.
No, we're doing invisibility over
That
here.
was invisibility. I made it disappear.
Yes.
I picked it up and it
okay.
disappeared.
Oh god, that's actually something I want to talk about, because when you're winning a game on Agion, that is a free invis, because you already have the map control because you're winning the team fights, and that sort of always rolls into this. All right, we're winning now. We're winning harder. Oh, now you exploded. We're winning harder. There goes your turret. Where's your base at? Gus, you keep the flow of invisibility. So I feel like, it's kind of unfair that it's in the middle when people are winning, but that's just me. I feel like it's a bit too snowbally.
One thing that I do want to comment on is that there have been many a times where we've been behind on Augion, and one thing that we kind of strive upon is timing the invisibility orb. It's up every minute. So as long as you can time that, it has a sound that can indicate exactly. It has a little sound that indicates when it's been spawned and when it's been picked up. So if you can time the invisibility, that can change the tides of a game on Augion. One thing that people don't realize is even though you may be pushed back to your last 2 turrets, if you can time that invisibility, make a push about 15 to 10 seconds before it spawns, you can get yourself in a decent position, try and pick up a gank and take some of that ground back that you lost on the push.
Yep, I agree with that. My experience playing Agilon, it does get a little bit snowbally with the invisibility orb most of the time, but I mean, that's part of the strategy. It's a more strategic map with that invisibility orb, and just like you were saying, Oz, if you can get up there, or if you have one person who runs up there, steals the orb, and basically screws it over, you can stop the enemy team from having that invisibility and try to level out the playing field. I feel like aggressive play on Agilon is really nice because it's really hard to move up and down the map sometimes just with the bouncers and the way it's structured. So there's some characters like Swiggins or Voltar who have a hard time with the bouncers moving from bottom lane to top lane. Or there's some characters that can even go up through the middle lane, like Penny can actually jump from the bottom middle up to the jump area and onto the middle of the map, which is absolutely nuts. So there's some really interesting geography that basically changes up the way characters play out there compared to, say, like a map like Ribbit or Agilon, Serona, yeah.
Actually, if I may, before you do that, one thing that we should discuss is the different types of characters, like you just went over, Dev, but speak about how maps change different playstyles and how they may affect some upgrades that you may or may not buy. So for Augion, I know for a fact that you really have to take into account invisibility and map awareness on it. You can get ganked extremely easy if the opposition drops through one of the bumpers. A lot of people don't realize this, but Froggy and Derple, I believe, are the only characters that can dash through the jumper. Actually, excuse me, Spike and Vinny can as well. But they can dash through the bumpers.
Raylan.
Oh, yeah. Raylan.
Oh, she goes
yeah.
with the snipe.
You
You're
didn't
right.
even watch my
You're
montage.
correct.
Oh my gosh.
Hey, I don't watch things.
Technically, Swiggins can also with the CC immunity.
Yeah.
That's true, but there are a few characters that can go straight through the bumpers. If you anticipate a character's movement down low, you can go straight through the bumpers instead of going through mid and get a decent gank on them. But besides that, I definitely think that Augion changes up different team comps.
Oh yeah.
Definitely true. I think that Augion, because it's so small in a way, it's not as small as Ribbit, but it is small. Knots that have area of effect, cooldowns and stuff like that, they definitely have a little bit of advantage on Augion, like Clunk and Coco and Penny. All the action is so close together that even if you're behind a turret, behind a corner, you can go into the enemy's creep zone, do a no-clip attack, and actually still hit them freely and just run away. Notes that have difficulty moving around would be maybe Scoop and Swiggins and single jump characters that can't make the bottom jump. So if you isolate mid, which is once again the invisibility orb control, you also have control of the jumpers, so that limits the transitions between bottom and top lane. One thing I am proud to say, which maybe it's a bug, maybe it's not, Swiggins and Scoop can actually make the jump into the creep zone. So it's great to find out that these little things, like every character has a learning curve, and if you really spend the time to develop that character, you'll find out little tricks and your tactics and gameplay will be better. But we'll switch on to another map and let's talk about Ribbit. Oz, you have anything to say about Ribbit real quick?
Actually, before we go into that, Dev brought up a really good point on Augion, and this could also apply to Ribbit too with Ted and Gnaw.
So basically with Ted and Gnaw, they've got some options basically to do things. So Ted has his airstrike, which normally just goes up, but there's an upgrade he can buy, Princess Adla's phone number, which basically changes the way he can play. So normally you'd stick his head on like the bottom of a map and use the airstrike to hit up. But with Princess Adla's phone number, you can go on the top of the map and hit down. So you can basically play him a little bit more strategically, and he has more options. For Gnaw is basically his acid spit, so he can spit everywhere, bleh, bleh, whatnot. But he has access to drip spit, so especially on Aguilon, where you have that direct drop down, you can put drip spit on the top lane, drops all the way down to the bottom lane. You can hit multiple waves of creeps multiple times, and it's quite evil. I hate it so much, but it's a really good strategic use of that on the map, especially like on that map as well as Ribbit. Since Ribbit's got that one jump pad that goes up the center, you can just spit all the way down.
Mm-hmm. You know, that's just a problem, I think, drip spit, because it's so good, it's so annoying. And on Ribbit, I mean, come on. Although I want to say that Ribbit is my favorite map just because of all the things you can do on Ribbit. I mean, there is the whole juking on the mid bouncer. There is the solar boss. You can, do that if you'd like. There's just more to do if you get what I'm saying. There's more things you want to do, and the map is tight. Especially playing Ray, having height on Rift is just a game changer. Rifting people through the floor, just tickling their feet, just all these nice little neat things that you can do because it's so tight. Playing Lone Star, bullpenning everywhere, just all these characters that are so fun to play on this map. I feel like the most of the characters in this map, they usually are pretty fun.
I personally think that Ribbit is the best map in the game. Augie on a close second, and AI Station, which we'll get to after, which has sadly been retired a few patches ago. But one thing that Dev touched up upon was Ted and Gnaw. The Ted, as he said before, usually you toss him on bottom lane, have him go to town. If Ted has really good map awareness, he can land those character airstrikes on characters up top. He can also be a support airstrike, in which he can get the hamburger phone and really just have that survivability and stay in to clear those droids and take a turret. A lot of people really do underestimate the base damage on Ted. If you allow a Ted to get to your first turret with 2 droids, he's taking a quarter of it off. There's no question about it. That's a quarter of your turret that's down in one push, probably within the first 3 minutes of the game. And as we all know, turret damage is permanent. So if that Ted is staying on bottom, he's going to town on your bottom turret. You really need to make sure that you have that mid control on Ribbit and can really work around that. With Gnaw especially, the drip down spit, a lot of people don't realize it. Early drip down spit really isn't too detrimental. You can actually tank it. A lot of people see that drip down spit and they're a little bit thwarted away from jumping up that bumper and going through it. But sometimes you do have to go through it to pick up that kill. Even though you are going to take about, I would say, I don't know how much damage it does off of base.
I think so, 350-ish?
It's somewhere around there, but it's over time. You have a little bit of time before you need to retreat. So in that time that you spent deciding whether or not you're going to take that jumper and go up there, your team could have gotten a kill. So don't be afraid of Gnaw's spit in the beginning. Don't be afraid of that drip down spit. You guys can take that mid back. Just because he's got the spit doesn't mean that you have to get out of that area.
Yeah.
Well, really, just you don't have to give a spit about the enemy the early game. If you want those kills, just ignore the spit and just spit on them.
Oh, that's
ignore
dangerous.
the spit and spit on them. Devmon 2015.
Yeah, get that quoted. All right,
But,
just wanna give a mention to Serona and the overall hugeness of the map. And just want to point it out because apparently we were going to talk about AI. We promised you that. We're going to get Serona some other time. But AI Station. Holy guff. I mean, first AI 404.
You mean Ray Eye Station 404?
Oh
Yes.
yeah, I do. I do.
Okay.
I'm still like crying myself to sleep every night because I can't snipe forward for winning. Oh no, that was Dark Ages and Voltar, Raylan Voltar. Have you ever fought that? It's like
Yeah, I have.
Oh, I've fought
Voltar trains.
many a
Every
time.
game.
The Voltar train that has been derailed.
Oh yes. Oh, that is sad.
Talk about
Voltar is
derailing a
sad.
Voltar train on 404, man. Those were the days. If you could derail a Voltar, Derpal, Raylan on 404, you win.
You
You
could
win.
do anything. Like you were just all right. Fair enough. Here, just have
When you're
your...
done with that game, you want to ride a motorcycle, you don't know how? You already know how. It's fun.
Yeah.
You want to buy a wingsuit and jump off a cliff? You got it, dude. You win.
Bring the motorcycle. It's okay.
You want to
Ride the
drive a
motorcycle.
motorcycle off of a cliff wearing a wingsuit? You got it. You win.
you just derailed the Voltar train. You can do anything.
You did derail the Voltar train, which brings me to the Ted McPayne train. Just
Oh.
tearing down turrets on any map, even on AI Station. The new AI Station. Man, that fire is deadly. You allow a Ted to go to town on your turret with that fire up, that's gonna be half your turret gone.
Oh my god, yes. That is like, where did the turret go? Oh, we had visit. Oh, it was Ted. Oh.
It is the same idea of the Nospit that sometimes you just gotta tank that fire, tank that Nospit, and go down and get that kill. So it's more so not for the squishy characters, but for the mid to tanky characters that team comp and just map awareness plays an important part no matter what map you play on. Say AI Station for this matter, or Ribbit or Serona or anything. You have these characters like Gnaw and Derpal and Yuri for mid control and stuff like that. But where are you getting your DPS and where are you getting your snare if you even need it, or where are you getting your push from? So team comps play an important role where the drafting system, if we had one in solo queue and pub matches, plays such an important role that you have to pick your knots specifically for what we want to do. Do you want to push? Do you want to snare and kill and then work off that? Or do you want to just control and farm up until we have enough solar that it doesn't matter? So do you, like for Team Ape, we usually run Swiggins, then Clunk and Scoop. We have a CC, a snare for the escape and a chase, as well as just defense, and a massive burst. Nada, what's your favorite team comp so far?
Oh, well, being on Team Ion, we also do our stuff, and the one that we had most success with would be Penny, Ted, Raylan, which basically is a early game get Ted to push towers, and then late game burst down with Penny Ray, because you get the Penny's damage and you get the Raylan's burst damage amplified. Having a Penny on your team is equal to buying flashy glasses without range reduction. So you get an insane amount of damage, and you get so much else. With the Ted, you also get a great presence. That's especially for Ribbit and Agion. For Serona, we like to do a Vinny, Raylan, Penny combo. You can sort of guess why we're switching up here, because Vinny is much better on Serona. And Ted can find himself in some awkward situations on Serona, so we'd like to swap it out for the aerial control rather than the push.
Okay, I guess I'll take over then. So speaking of Serona, Serona's a really interesting map. It's my least favorite map, for reference, because it's just so big. The issue I have with it is that it really benefits comps that have really good push or separated push. And what I mean by that, I mean some characters have a summonable. So you have Roland Star's Bull or Raylan's Droid Rift, or you have characters that have enough HP that can tank the turret. And that's really important, just because Serona is such a big map that the droids have a hard time going across the whole map themselves. So early on, characters that hold that mid bush, like Gnaw, or even like Yuri or even Derpal, having some traps inside the bush prevent people from going in there. And you basically do the strategy that everybody does, where you kill your own creeps in the bottom with the solar worm, you pick up the solar, and you just start snowballing. If you don't do that, then you're at a disadvantage. And basically, Serona is all about the contestant for the middle, so again, Ted's a really good choice for this, just because the airstreak hits right below and hits up through the bush, and he can also do a lot of split pushing. But I find that characters like even Swiggins is a good example who wants to hold down people, where you've put the jump pads on the top, where that's a really good escape. Swiggins has the ability to basically lock people down by the jump pads, or you have like Raylan, who's able to use the timer to prevent people from going to those jump pads so quickly. So basically, anybody who has a lot of lockdown or area control early on, really good choice. Later on, you want something with a little bit more split pushiness, something to tap towers as much as possible. So Lone Star is a good choice. Ted with his hamburger phone and his gun, also a good choice. But you can pretty much play anything, make it work, as long as you've got a team that really wants to work together and focus.
Yeah, from 2.7 to 2.8, Swiggins got a knockback change that if he hits someone with his hook, they pretty much stop whatever direction they're moving in and they fall down. So stuff like that comes into play, where if you're on Serona, it's a big map and you can get someone isolated on that jumpers, or anyone, a snare, a Scolia throw timed perfectly well. That's just massive deplacement and a possible gank. But more so importantly, I want to go back to the mid control on Serona. While that is super important, the solar under the worm, that's a free kill for pretty much any member. And by kill, I mean an easy 20 solar every time droids just pass right through it. Some teams usually allow one member to get an early snowball, and that's usually a Coco, a Penny, a Swiggins, a Raylan, anything like that, where they can farm up that massive amounts of solar, get all their damage upgrades, and one-hit anything early game. The other part about that is where Ted comes in, or any pusher. Serona, the first two turrets, I think it was in 2.8. It might be 2.7 if I'm not mistaken. But the turret's health got reworked to be super, super low. Pretty much, you can take the turret.
10 or 20% decrease in health on the first two turrets.
Yeah.
It was in 2.7, right?
Yeah, 2.7.
Yeah. So if you allow one droid wave, like 2 droids, or maybe even 2, you can take down those first 2 turrets. So playing defense on Serona when you don't have mid is incredibly important, as well as trying to be aggressive and push into mid to take that solar advantage back.
You know, as you guys have all stated, having that mid control on Serona or on any map is just absolutely necessary to win. But especially on Serona, more than anything, you can get an extra 25 solar each time all those droids come to the bottom. So as DDs was saying, you know, you let one person farm that up, let them get their snowball going. That's a lot of solar. I believe it's every 15 or so seconds. That's an extra 25 solar coming, you guys, just straight to the pocket. Over time, maybe 5 to 10 minutes later, that person's going to have 3 or 4 more upgrades than you would have just by playing the game normally. Not saying that you're not playing the game normally, but you're not getting that mid control and you're not able to farm it up as well as the other team would be. This is not necessarily frowned upon, but it is currently the meta of the game. You know, on Serona, you have those people covering mid so well and just protecting their teammates, getting that solar constantly, and over time, the turrets don't even matter. You have so much damage upgrades on the bottom, so all that time that you spent taking off those droids, maybe it just should have been the exact amount of time that it would have taken the droids to take the turret on bottom. One thing that we definitely run on Serona, having a Ted on any map is great. Ted is love, Ted is life, but Ted on any map, put him on bottom lane and have him go to town. The other team, before they realize that their turret's going to be taken down, on Serona we do this all the time. We let me farm up for the Ted, get my second or third damage upgrade, and just go to town on their turrets. Before they know it, their bottom turret's down, their top turret has half health, we're already pushed in, and we're only at the 8-minute marker. But that's all I have to say about that.
Oh, I love your expression, like you're dating the turret and then you're breaking up with it, like, oh, sorry, can't do this. But, like, again, having a mid in Awesome Knots is really, really important. Agion, Invis, Ribbit, you get access to the jungle. Serona, you have access to the farm. The only real map without mid control is AI Station. And you don't want to be in the mid for AI Station unless you're like barbecue. And, you know.
Or unless you're a sentry.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
The free black hole sun.
Didn't they reduce the damage for that?
They reduced it, but you still get more than a half a charge.
Oh, yeah, fair enough. That's pretty good for a free charge. But, you know, just want to state again, like, mid control. Holy crap, you need mid control. Please get the mid control. If you don't have anything to do, go to mid. Don't know what to do. Clear. Then go to mid. Always go to mid. So, I think that's a good place to be in mid. Don't you guys think that? I think that's a good play. Are we in
That's one of the
mid?
biggest
pretty-
things
it's
about
pretty good
Awesome
place
House.
to be.
It's good.
You know, besides
pretty-
being in your base, buying upgrades, and being wherever your teammates need you, yeah, you should be in mid.
Yeah, be in mid.
You know,
I'm
you let
pretty
half
good.
your team die, but you're in mid.
You're in mid though. You got mid. It's fine. Don't worry.
How does half of your team die when you're 3 people?
One and a half.
One and a half.
Yeah, 1.5.
I died a little inside when I was in mid.
Yeah, I guess so.
That being said, we're running at 55 minutes. It doesn't even feel like 55 minutes have passed.
Oh, wow.
It's gone by so fast.
Right.
Oh, time
But-
passes here in mid.
Yeah. Mid lane.
We're mid lane. That's where we are now? No, there is no mid lane. It's top or bottom lane, gentlemen.
Oh,
Maybe
yeah.
eventually one day we'll have a map that does
Maybe 4v4 knots mid lane.
Why stop at 3 lanes? 5 lanes, 7
Five,
lanes.
7 lanes. Yeah, then you get the HOV lane for the carpoolers and everything else. Regardless, I think
I'd
it's
like to
time
park
that
my
we...
drop pod here. Oh, that's lane 5, sir.
Well, you get your little valet to bring you a ticket
yeah,
for
yeah.
your lane. We need to go into our recap before we sadly leave all of you today. That being said, deities, take it away for the final recap.
Yeah, right. Well, we've done our introductions. We'll do it again shortly after this short recap. Yeah, repetitiveness. We've talked about the Alienware Cup, the massive amount of teams and the sponsorships. We hopefully hope for a future tournament where we're sponsored again and we have a large amount of teams and community members join in to hopefully get Awesome Knots out there. It's such an amazing game, such amazing developers, and it could be the next competitive big name out there. We've then talked about 2.9. I'm personally just ecstatic to finally get to play Nibs. I'm super sad that I don't have the beta, but I would be on that like 24/7 and not get any work done, so kind of glad I don't have it.
Boy.
Yeah.
Can I just say that something I'm so hyped for 2.9 as well, but I'm more hyped about Null getting changed than all the regular notes and the new notes.
Yes.
You know what I'm
That
hyped about?
is-
Mid. There's going to be a lot of changes to mid, guys. Mark my words, mid is going to change for the better.
No, I
The change to mid.
Oh no, but like really, I'm so looking forward to it. I'm gonna make a video about it or something. I'm so hyped for it, and you know, just get the new things up.
All right, I'm going to interrupt you there and say that, you know what, I'm enjoying all the maps right now. There's some I enjoy more than others.
Starstorm map.
Starstorm, exactly. I was about to say Starstorm map that hasn't come out yet, as well as Spectator mode. I'm super hyped for both of those. I'm not even sure what they're going to do for Starstorm, because one of the suggestions was, oh, let's have a fire zone. And that's kind of what happened in 2.5.
I saw a little teaser for that map.
Did you?
I can tell
Did
you
you?
right now, it's got a huge mid. Mid on that
baby.
map is gonna be. No, I haven't seen a teaser. This is just gonna be the ongoing joke that we have for every cast now.
That is the mid.
But
I just can't choose a side. You're going to go left, just go right, just go down
no, just stay in mid. Yeah, stay in mid.
Fine.
You don't really have to do anything after that. But yeah, why not? We'll do that again. As a final recap, actually before we get that, we do want to give a few thank yous to everybody who has worked together in putting this wonderful cast together. We definitely want to give a huge thank you to all of the artists who've contributed massive amounts of time and stress into this amazing project. We thank you for your servitude to the Omi-Cast. Vixie and Zammy's kid. Vixie is the awesome person who has worked on our logo. It is an awesome logo. We love it. We love you, Vixie. And a huge thank you to one of my great friends, Zammy Kid, who has done the background and the overlays for the cast. He's a great graphics artist. If you guys need to contact them, there are a few ways to contact them. You could probably Google them. Steam is also a great way to contact them. Just check them up on Steam. And, you know, maybe we'll thank Alex for putting this thing to... I don't know. Do we need to?
Maybe.
Alex, a huge thank you to Alex who started this whole thing up. Alexius,
Yeah.
thank you, man, for putting all of our crazy egos and thoughts together and
My
getting it
mid
all
is
together
collapsing.
in one. Your mid's collapsing?
His mid is collapsing.
Oh, you're losing mid control. You're losing mid control. But a huge thank you to everybody
do
else,
this.
and I guess we'll thank ourselves. Great job, guys. Thank you,
Hey,
Deities,
hey.
Nada,
Oh.
and Dev for but give yourself a nice pat on the
Oh.
back while you hold mid. But
He's holding
nice
mid
thank
all
you,
on his
you
own.
guys. One thing that we do want to let you guys know is we have an email set up where you can send in talk show topics or send in anything that you would like us to discuss. Fan art, maybe in the future you'll do some caricatures of us, just saying. I have an awesome beard, so that's one of the things that you should put in. Nah, just kidding. But definitely send us a few emails. Let us know what you would like us to talk about. Let us know what we should talk about the next time we do a cast. Speaking of which, I believe we're looking for a weekly cast, if not bi-weekly. I know we are going to be off next week. So we will be at a 2-week kind of date the next time you guys look at this cast. And that's pretty much going to be it. Deities, do it.
Alright, we just want to say a quick goodbye and thank you for listening. So, I'm Deities.
Oz, who are you?
You just told me who I am. I don't need to know who I know who I am. Who are you?
Alright, so I'm Deities,
Nada.
that's Oz, that's Nada, and Devmon.
And I'm dying.
That is going to be it for the first ever pilot episode of the Omi-Cast. Hope you guys have enjoyed, and we will see all of you later.
See ya.
Goodbye.